What's up, everyone? That's right. There are still fantasy football analysts out here creating content while everybody else is on vacation, leisure time, whatever you want to call it. Me and Joe Matz, we're still here.
Still grinding.
Still grinning, still grinding, still blinding. Grinding like Indiana. Goodness gracious, Joseph Matz. They are beating down the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully anyone out there going into this game was not sleeping on Indiana anymore, because it was bizarre to me. I got why Nick Saban was doing it because he's a giant homer, but I don't really get why anyone else was picking Alabama to beat Indiana last week. It didn't make any sense. It's like all the questions were answered. They went to Oregon and they won that game. They beat Ohio State on a neutral field. It's like they'd beaten top 5 teams and they hadn't won either game on the road. And people are like, no, this fading Alabama team will win. It's like, no, that's stupid. And today, listen, I expected a more competitive game because these teams played a really close game. But again, that game was at Oregon, and it seems clear that this Indiana team is actually peaking right now. So, I mean, the coverage that corner played on Surratt earlier in the game, I think it was the first drive for Indiana. It's like he's draped all over him legally. His hand was literally where the ball was coming, and Surratt just reaches out, snags it. None of it matters. It's like this is obviously, it's so much different than the Indiana team last year. And it's also a reminder that when people make sweeping statements about a program because of one game, you can end up looking pretty stupid. All the people are like, better never invite Indiana back. Like they couldn't get better. So, yeah, again, judge teams by what they're playing like right now. Don't judge them by the 50 years before Signetti got there. Don't judge them by last year before Mendoza was there. Like, come on. This team's awesome. I love it. We're going to get our third, no offense to you, Keith. Obviously, I would have been happy for you if your Georgia Bulldogs had made it. But I kind of love that it's third straight year championship game, no SEC team. And the fact that it's Indiana is so much more fun, though, than Michigan or Ohio State.
Yeah.
It seems like it'll be them. I know maybe it's Miami and it's the comeback 20 years later to prominence, but
again,
yeah, which is less exciting to me personally, but yeah, I think it's awesome.
Man, well done, Joe. That was a good case. I was downtown at work and I meant to message you that it's friggin' like 1 o'clock. And I saw Indiana fans everywhere in downtown Atlanta. And I'm going, okay, I've never seen a neutral site crowd like what I heard at the beginning of the game. Have you? I mean, it sounded like a home Indiana game.
Oh, yeah. After that pick six, it was loud. So, I mean, it looks like based on the number of sad faces they kept panning to, that there's a decent number of Oregon fans there. But, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is if, like, you're an Indiana fan, why would you not be spending the money if you had it to go to this game?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not like, oh, we've been here before. Like, no, you haven't. This is it.
By the way, they're in Atlanta, Georgia. It's 70 degrees. They're going, man, maybe these people are onto something.
Oh, it's a nice change of pace. That's true. That's another reason you'd be spending that money, because it's like, hey, we're going to go somewhere way nicer than Indiana this time of year.
So go Hoosiers. I'm happy for them.
Yeah,
I'd rather it be the Dogs, but it is what it is. Can't win them all. We've reached the playoffs, Joseph. Real quick before we get into the place, does home field advantage matter anymore in the NFL?
Yes. Although it might, it's somewhat.
Look at the spreads. Are we sure?
I'm a little surprised by the Packers Bears. That's the only. I mean, I think the Jags one shows that there's some value there, because I do think the Jags on a neutral field, I would actually pick them. So maybe it doesn't, because it's -1.5. But the Packers Bears one is the one that surprises me, that it didn't matter at all. I know that the Packers should be 2-0 against the Bears, because obviously not going to get an onside kick very often. But that's the one that surprised me, because it's like this Packers team defensively, it's in trouble. Like they've gone the way of San Francisco, where it's just ravaged by injuries. And I don't really see how they're going to stop a lot of people, but
You don't love the fact that they've given up 199 rushing yards per game over their last
that's
three?
that's the scary thing, because I look at the matchup and I feel pretty good about the Packers being able to pass consistently against the Bears. But then I get flashbacks to that Ravens game, which I guess, they were in that game without Jordan Love. But yeah, who's to say that the Bears aren't running for 150, 200 yards?
It's going to be hard to throw the ball in 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, by the way.
That's true as well. So if this becomes all about the run game, I think that would be as strong of an advantage as you could have in this game. And this week between two teams, where if it became solely about the run game, yeah, I don't think there's a game where it'd be a more clear, this helps this team and it hurts the other team.
And then you may have already heard this, but there's been 6 teams with a losing record to host a wild card game. Do you know the record of those teams?
I know it's good. I don't. It's
good.
Not 6-0. Is it 5-1?
It's 4-2.
4-2. Okay. I was gonna say recently too. I think it's even been more pronounced. It keeps happening.
This is the biggest home dog in the history of the NFL.
That
in the playoffs
doesn't surprise me,
because I actually believe the Seahawks,
still at 10?
the Quake, it's 10.5. It was 9.5, and that was the biggest prior to this. Yikes!
I'll be honest, I could be wrong. I've been wrong about a number of things over the last month. Who can forget this Steelers team feels different? I think this is where they finally fall apart on their way to a division title.
Don't you do it, Joe.
You couldn't get listen, I'm not saying take the points, bet on the Rams, but I'm saying there's no way I would touch it on the Panthers. There's just no way. I couldn't.
That's fair. Yeah. And
the key thing to me, beyond the fact that I think the Rams are one of the 2 best teams in the NFL, and there is the thing too that the Panthers and Falcons both beat them, and those are both teams that had a guy running their defense, or I guess I don't know if Raheem Morris plays the Falcons defense, but head coach defensively. He and Evero are for the Panthers DC, both guys who coached on the Rams. So I don't know if maybe they have a little more insight into the McVay offense.
Insider trading.
Yes, or just they got a little extra knowledge where maybe that helps them. But to me, the key thing here is the Rams lost to them like a month ago. It wasn't that long ago. It's not like they're like, oh, this team's going to take us by surprise because whatever. It's like, no, this team beat you recently.
Bryce Young's I got him right where I want him, Joe Matz. That's what you're missing. How do you want to do it this week? Probably. Do you want to go game by game, or do you want to go by positions like we normally do? Your call.
I could do either. Let's go game by game. Let's switch it up.
All right. So we'll start with the game that we were starting to talk about, because that's the first game. I guess we'll go in order. That is the Rams versus Panthers. What do you like about this game? For Carolina, I'm very intrigued by Tet, because I agree with you. I think that they are going to be down. I think they're going to be throwing, and I think that's good for Tet McMillan. I know he had an okay game in the first one, but I think he was only targeted twice, 2 or 3 times, something like that.
Yeah, it was weird because, I have him on one of my fantasy teams and so I was like, oh, sweet, they're scoring a bunch of points. And it was like he had one really big touchdown in that game.
Yep.
But that was pretty much it, which was all the more impressive, honestly, for Carolina in that game, that they had that much success without going to their number one.
Well, hold on now. I actually went back and looked at that game because I had forgot. Carolina had 3 passing touchdowns of 35 yards or more, and a 50-yard pick 6.
Right, it's a lot of big plays.
The disparity in the total plays, yardage, etc., was insane.
So you're saying
the Rams running backs averaged 7.4 yards per carry, and they lost
So you're saying it doesn't feel repeatable, that they can't count on like 4 massive touchdown plays to win
I
a
mean,
game?
they could. I mean, if you watch the Falcons versus the Rams, it's possible.
That's
Cardinals
fair.
too. Michael Wilson caught, one of them got overturned, but he caught 2 50-yard plays in himself.
That's true. Although one of the interesting things too, I don't know. I guess I would probably say advantage Rams on this because they have a quarterback who's played in the league almost 16 years or something now. These are the two defenses that disguise coverages the most in the NFL. There's these two. As Panthers are first, Rams are second. Obviously, that apparently it did not confuse Bryce Young last time because, like you said, he had like probably as many passing touchdowns of over 35 yards in that game as he had the rest of the season.
Yep.
But that to me screams advantage Stafford because he's seen it all. Yeah, I mean the Rams defense is good, but obviously it's had its games where it's slipped up. Against number 1 wide receivers per FTN, 68 yards per game. So that's a healthy amount. That puts them, I believe it was 22nd in the league. Against both of these teams, super heavy zone teams, Panthers first, Rams fourth. T-Mac is, unsurprisingly, across the board, he's the go-to guy. He's over 0.4 points per target against both man and zone. So not a reason to go away from him. Opposite side, at wide receiver, Puka and Devontae both take steps back against zone versus man. But, of course, in Puka's case, that means he goes from otherworldly to elite.
Just really good.
So, yeah, just like, it's still awesome, just not historically like the top 5 receiver all time or whatever it is. Devontae takes the bigger hit in this matchup, or at least according to man versus zone splits. Carolina this year also, though, much worse against number 1s than number 2. Difference of 41 yards per game per FTN.
Wow.
So to me, this is a game where I'm looking at both number 1 wide receivers and I'm thinking, all right, do I want to fit them into my lineup?
I don't think I do. I mean, I don't think I want to play Puka for sure. And I only say that because, again, I worry that the Rams are going to control this.
It gets out of hand, and then they're just pounding the run, like you said.
I mean, if you really look at it, the first game, they ran it down their throat. And I would assume cold weather, right? Like it is going to be cold in Carolina, potential rain. Sure. I think that, what is objective number 1, obviously, to win? Objective 2 is let's get out of there with a healthy Matthew Stafford, a healthy Devontae Adams, and we got a real chance to win this thing, right? Like, I think everybody can agree on that. I do. I think that, again, for cash, I think I really like you could talk me into either of the Rams backs. I do like McMillan if you don't have the salary and you want a pass catcher, because, again, the Rams secondary has been getting cooked. I know they're getting their nickel cornerback, but to me it seems bigger issues than just one
that's
guy
also getting the nickel cornerback probably not going to have a major effect on Teteroa McMillan.
That's what I'm saying. So you could talk me into Coker, who, again, he had a big game versus them, but really for me it's McMillan and the 2 backs for the Rams for cash. Now, if you're talking MME, you could throw the entire Rams roster in there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And don't forget, I would feel okay about that. Not that I'm comparing Rico Dowdle to Bijan Robinson, but the Rams' run defense hasn't looked great over the last couple of weeks either. And that would be my game plan if I was Carolina.
Oh, shorten the game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has to be the strategy. I mean, they're hoping for like the worst weather possible, shorten the game. Let's see if we can get a couple big plays and a turnover and get out of here with another win.
So you got any other guys for cash you like, or we can move on to the next game?
I think that's probably it in this game. I mean, I will say again, the Rams have gone heavy with the tight ends as of late, but I don't think they're going to have, again, to your point, I don't know that they have to get that creative to score a bunch of points in this game. And so I think if you're going Rams, yeah, I'm either going Puka or I'm going the running backs. And I'd feel good about that.
Wouldn't you say tight end is one of the more fruitful positions this week too? Like there's a lot of guys you could talk
I
into.
would say that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's weird how they got the 2 NFC games on Saturday. I thought that was interesting. We
didn't even think about it. That's true.
So this is only the third meeting between these two division rivals, and they have been around guys from the beginning. So that it actually is saying something that this is only their third playoff game. I'm worried for the Bears. I'm pulling for the Bears. First of all, like Dylan Clemens with Fantasy Six Pack, big Bears fan. Erica, we know Brown, from Waiver Wire Show. She's a big Bears fan. But I do have a little bit of nervousness. I actually think the weather that is forecasted is a gift from the football gods for them because, Jordan Love with 3 weeks off, Josh Jacobs with 2 weeks off. I was going, oh man, the way Christian Watson burns, and I mean burns, man coverage. Dobbs has been historically great in the playoffs. Really good. Seriously, go look up his numbers from his 3 playoff games. It's kind of shocking. But with the weather that they're calling for, DeAndre Swift, I think, is going to be in almost every one of my lineups. I find it hard to believe that Ben Johnson is not going to pound that rock, and rightfully so. And again, Green Bay, 199 yards per game over their last 3. I know that has the Derrick Henry in there, so if you want to go the last 6, that's fine. They're giving up over 150 yards per carry over the last 6. So basically, since the Micah Parsons injury, I can't really explain it because it's not like he's a great run defender, but it's just kind of messed up everything, and they're having a real issue stopping the run. Obviously both Bears backs would be interesting plays in MME, but again, for cash, I feel like Swift is really underpriced, and he's probably the first lock guy I have of the 2 games that we've gone over, where I think I'm going to be loading up on Swift come tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you watch that if you watch that Ravens Packers game, it's hard to get that out of your head thinking about this Green Bay run defense, where it's just again, that was a game Lamar didn't play. You knew what the game plan was, and you had the whole game where you knew it became more and more apparent they're not going to go away from the run because you can't stop it,
right?
And there was no adjustment to be made. It didn't exist. There was nothing for them to do, which is kind of, I do think, this defense, I think it's better coached under Jeff Hafley than some of these other Packers defenses over the last 10 years. But yeah, when you throw in these injuries, it feels like the tale as old as time. Probably most people remember that Niners-Packers conference championship game where, what was it that Jimmy G, was it he only completed 9 passes, or did he only throw 9 passes?
He only threw, I think, 9 passes. That was the one where
run. And,
other than the your Giants win in Lambeau, that's the coldest game I've ever seen. That Giants one was worse because Coughlin literally looked like he was dying. He was turning so red from how cold it was. But that Niners-Packers game, it was also miserable. And I'm trying to remember who was the back. Was that before? That was before CMC, right?
Yeah, that was.
Was that the Tevin Coleman days?
Shoot. Because that was 2018?
I think 2019.
I'm trying to remember. Was that Mostert? It's a good question, actually.
Might have been.
But I mean, yeah, just when you look at look at the PFF grades, there's 3 run defenses that are in the bottom 10 that made the playoffs. They're all playing this week. One of them, unsurprisingly, the Carolina Panthers. We just talked about how you like the Rams running backs. The Bills, which shouldn't be a secret to anyone who's watched the Buffalo Bills game, and then Green Bay. And I mean, the bigger problem there too is for the Panthers and for Green Bay, the Rams are the number 1 run blocking team per PFF. The Bears the third best.
Yep.
And so it's like, all right, these teams are elite at doing this, and you're bad at stopping it. It's a problem. So I mean, that is the interesting thing. Is it feels like the Bears' strategy is going to be run, 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 and then if the weather is okay enough to pass, Jordan Love, like you said, he lights up man defenses. Like every Packers receiver outside of Matthew Golden, great numbers against man defense.
I will say though that
all of them are good, and
to the because it's Dennis Allen, right? Is the DC there?
Yes, Dennis Allen's the DC.
To his credit, they did their man deal in the first matchup, and they got absolutely cooked. They ran zone on like 82% of their plays in the second game.
That's what they should probably do again.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Christian Watson becomes he's always a problem. He's a talented guy.
4,900. Yeah.
Man defense, that's a real problem. So I would definitely be trying to limit how often I'm in man defense. I know the argument back and forth on that always is like, all right, if this is the thing you do, it can be hard to switch to it. And I also think switching from man to zone is a little harder than the reverse because your assignment is cover the man,
right?
Versus
you're covering
now
an error,
communicate all these different things.
Yep.
So that also does leave you open to potentially getting exploited. This is an interesting game because this is one of the harder games for me to figure out as far as who I think is going to win. Because like we said, I think the strategies are relatively clear, especially for the Bears. Is there any Bears receiver that you're interested in this game?
Again, because of the weather? It's looking pretty likely that this is what we're going to get is like frigid temperatures and 40-mile-an-hour winds. And we talk about all the time. Cold weather, it's easy. Like they can throw it in cold weather all day. Cold, windy weather? Oh, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have been, recommending Burden with what he's done and his price tag for MME. Zacchaeus, I think, would be an interesting play. He is somebody that still catches passes. It does look like a Dunze's back. Who knows if we're going to get, this is what I love about like this matchup and a lot of these matchups. You get to kind of find out who are those guys, right? This is the Bears' first playoff. This is Caleb's first playoff. You got, Bryce Young and the Panthers' first playoff. Like, there's going to be some players on those teams that show up and show out.
In a lot of ways, it's a new blood playoffs. Obviously,
yes, it is.
You look at the preseason favorites for the Super Bowl, and it's like, who's still standing? It's like Buffalo, and that's kind of it. Like even at teams like San Francisco, it was like, well, they'll probably get in because of a weak schedule. I mean, I guess Philly would probably be the other team, although how much faith people have in them, especially talking DFS. If there's a week that you maybe could talk yourself into Philly guys, this is probably the week.
Right.
Too with the Rams with the 49ers defense the way it is, but
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. I will say the interesting thing about the Bears pass game is probably the two guys I would have the most interest in would probably be Loveland and especially Burden. And those are guys you can kind of scheme up stuff that doesn't have to be downfield.
Yep.
So that would be the Loveland, because like we said earlier, I think there's some decent tight end plays here. So I don't know that I would ultimately do that, although he's become awesome down the stretch. Like I honestly, until this week, I hadn't been fully up to date on how good Loveland was playing. But Burden, because it's about an equal price point, but there's not receivers who I think necessarily have better matchups outside of the weather.
Right.
I could maybe talk myself into that one, but I think I'm with you. I mean, overall, yeah, I think the top play here is what you said, where it's Swift. And even, what's Munungai's split's been lately?
Munungai. Love his last name.
I always want to have Munungai in my lineup just because I can then yell.
He hasn't really scored any points. So like, Swift's back getting most of the red zone carries, even when they have, say a 65-35 split. Yeah, Swift is back to where he's getting all the inside the 5 carries. Swift to me is, again, like, he's a lot for me. 5,700, the way the Packers have struggled, Ben Johnson's going to want to run the rock. That's what he does. And, the thing that sucks, I think, because of the wind, a lot of people will end up there to where I think if it wasn't 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, I think that I would have a low on DeAndre Swift and I'd still be playing.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I guess the argument for Menengai would be bad
They're
weather.
run it. Yep.
You're going to run it so much more. You know, if we're talking about Menengai getting like 12 or 13 carries,
he's shown he can have a huge game off of that.
It gets a lot more interesting. I just wish if he was like $400 cheaper, I think I would be in.
I'm with you.
At $5,200, it's like, yeah, I mean, you can get Dowdle for $300 more, and obviously, you know, we're a little doubtful on the strategy of running the ball and shortening the game, working out for them.
Yep.
But like we said, that has to be the strategy,
right?
So, but yeah, I think I'm with you for this game. Swift is the very clear play, and otherwise, yeah, I wish the weather was a little bit better, but if it ends up being Swift goes off, the Bears win, I'll be sad I have probably more Packers friends than any other team. But shout out to the guy who a week ago, when my brother, my roommate, and I went out for dinner and struck up a conversation with a grandfather table over, and then he bought us a pitcher of sangria. And he was a Bears fan.
Hello.
So I was like, shout out Bears fans, like this guy. He's giving you the good karma as far as I'm concerned. So.
The Bears.
So.
Well, let's move on to I think the game that everybody is looking forward to the most. Don't you think that's fair to say? Like that, if you're not a fan of the teams, don't you think Bills Jags is the most interesting game on this schedule?
I definitely think if you are a locked in NFL fan, like you're paying attention consistently, which probably means you are if you're listening to us. This is it for sure. I'm with you. I mean, there might be other games where like San Francisco, Philly, Green Bay, Chicago, there's kind of like more big fan bases because the Jags don't dominate attention. But I don't think there's a game where I look at this slate where I could look at all these teams and go, I could see either team in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
I don't, you know, again, if Green Bay was healthy on defense, maybe, and even then, I would still kind of doubt Chicago a little bit. We've talked about how we like Houston as a potential sleeper. I can't buy Pittsburgh winning 3 straight games. The Chargers, if they had offensive tackles, sure, but they don't.
If they did,
so I don't see that. Frisco's defense is a wreck. Philly's offense, I don't trust that for 3 straight games. Obviously, I don't buy Carolina. If they win this game, congrats. That's an awesome season. I can't see it going on and them winning. If they have to go to Seattle, I don't be a massacre. So yeah, this is the game though, where you go. It's Josh Allen. It's the best quarterback in the playoffs. I mean, I guess maybe Stafford and May couldn't make arguments, but it's him. He's the man. It's the Jags who right there with the Texans, the teams that are peaking at the end. And probably you feel a little bit better about them because they get to play at home and they have a functional offensive line. So, yeah, this is the game. I'm with you 100%. I'm curious because I was, looking obviously through the lines for each of these games. And are you all in the way Vegas is that this is should be the highest line of the weekend? Because it's 51.5. And that's 6 points clear of every other game.
I think so. I mean, for starters, Josh Allen puts on a Superman cape once you get to the playoffs. I mean, it is borderline ridiculous at this point what he does.
Anyone who hates on him for playoff failures,
thank you.
Do you watch the games?
So he's played now 13 playoff games, Joe. He's got 25 total touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, almost 3,400 yards. And the big thing for me and why he is a lock for me at quarterback, I'm not going to take the uncertainty with all these other guys, is they don't let Allen get in harm's way nearly as much during the regular season anymore.
For sure.
But in the playoffs, all bets are off. And just his last 5 postseason starts, remember, that's the last 2 years when you really saw a decline in the amount of rush attempts that he had from the previous years during the regular season. He's rushed it 49 times for 251 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. For those not good at math, that's 55 points or 10 points a game just as a runner. And he's also, again, throwing passing touchdowns and everything else. I'm taking the layup with Allen. And what I like about Allen, if you want to stack him, you can with Shakir. You can stack him with Kincaid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do that. Or I have 2 lineups right now where he's my quarterback. I'm just running them naked. I mean, what's the big deal? Like, if it's an Allen game, and we've seen these many times before where he ends up getting, vultures, poor James Cook. Vultures, like Cook's got all these touchdowns, and then he gets to the playoffs. It's like, all right, James, move to the side. It's Josh Allen time. I'd be shocked if Allen doesn't get 20 plus points. And I want to say too that there's been so much made about Buffalo's run defense, and it's atrocious.
Very bad.
But they got kind of lucky on the AFC side. Only New England is a top 10 rushing attack. These are not teams that are great running the ball. Even Jacksonville, they don't scare me with their run game, right? Like, if it was on the NFC side, I would be terrified. Like, I think the Bears, the Rams, those teams would have a field day.
It would be a problem
with Buffalo. But and then the other thing I just want to know in this game selfishly is, can we believe all this stuff we've seen from T-Law, Cohen? Because, I just want to remind people, it's really remarkable what they've done. And not just because this is a losing franchise that has turned it around so quickly, but just remember, Travis Hunter, they traded all kinds of capital and took the number 2 pick on him, expecting him to be part of the offense. He played
and the defense. Yeah, both.
What did he play, like 5 games?
5 or 6, yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr., how was he going to follow up that monster rookie year with almost 1,300 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns with 700 yards and 2 touchdowns? Like, yet they're still doing it. And Parker Washington is the other guy from this game that is pretty much a lock for me at 5K.
Okay, I'm with you.
It's remarkable what he has done. He's now scored 17 points or more on DK in 6 of his last 9. But in the last 3 games, they've just decided this is our best receiver, and we're going to throw it to him for whatever reason. And I'm not saying like he's actually the best receiver. He's their most effective receiver. Let's put it that way, because he's been targeted 29 times last 3 weeks, 19 receptions, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 24 points per game. And he's 5K or is he 4,900? I can't remember what the exact price is, but that's a lock for me. And I do expect points to be aplenty in this game because we know that the Bills can score fast. I think both teams are going to come out, might have a little bit of a slow start where they're both trying to run the ball, control the clock. And then I think all it takes is like one bomb and then all hell breaks loose. And I have no doubt Josh Allen will live up to his side of the bargain. I still do have some questions with Trevor Lawrence. Like, I've been so impressed.
Yeah.
But, can you do it when it really matters? And the answer should be yes. I mean, after he went into Denver, 2 weeks ago, and they just beat the brakes off of Denver. More impressively, their offense just did whatever they wanted. I do expect that this just to be, like maybe one of those 35-31, 38-35, just barn burners. And we'll probably need it after the Packers-Bears the night before and frigid temperatures with 40 miles per hour winds.
Yeah, I'm very much on the same page with you with Parker Washington. Again, the Bills, they're probably the most even on a man zone split, but Parker Washington is easy. So as far as that goes, Parker Washington, when they play man, by far the best receiver for the Jags, 0.58 points per route run, 25% target share. And like you said, these numbers are all obviously tracking up recently.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because he has been on a tear. And then, if you're going with the Bills wide receiver, I mean, tight end, like you said,
I think it's Kincaid, right? Is the guy that would make the most sense.
Could be the play because Jags, very good defense, not super great against tight ends. That's kind of a weak spot for this team.
Yep.
And then the other thing is, if you do go with a wide receiver, I would not be trying to guess the receiver of the week. Take Shakir, who's always the safest play, and a Jags defense that runs zone at a top 10 rate, and he's the best receiver against zone. So, but are you out then on the run game here?
Yes. Josh Allen is the run game here for me.
That's fair.
The running back, again, the running backs that so far I have in my lineups, I'm going to take death taxes, Christian McCaffrey in cash games. And then in the lineups that I have 3 backs, it's either one of those Rams running backs. Kenneth Gainwell is somebody I keep coming back to over and over again. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But I think
you're all over Swift, right?
Yep. And I'm all over Swift.
Okay.
That's the problem with the playoffs is like in DFS, these teams are all good, or for the most part. Sorry, Carolina.
I was going to say, give or take one, which, watch
maybe
them,
you too, again, Pittsburgh.
Watch them make it 5-2. Right? So that's true. Pittsburgh is a little shaky. Although the one thing
I'm going to be so pissed if they beat Houston because, that's like my sleeper to win the Super Bowl for now a month and a half.
The one thing I'll give Pittsburgh is DK Metcalf will be back.
Oh yeah, so, they're a different team with him.
Like you look at what they were throwing to, especially like the key situations in that Browns game. They're just Rodgers is forcing balls to Valdez-Scantling. You're like, this seems bad, but yeah, it is interesting where that matchup is so good for the Jags run game, but it's kind of a mediocre run game. And to your point, like the one team that really is set up offensively in the AFC to take advantage of that Bills defense would be the Bills offense. Like that's the one offense in the AFC.
And we'll see what the Patriots do with May with his legs. Because I'm curious if they don't have a little Josh Allen plan, right? Like
I would assume
they held him back, and then all of a sudden we see May running around a lot more. We've seen this with Mahomes, and to the Chiefs' credit, I mean, I know he had to this year because they needed the wins, but what happens the first year that they run him a lot more than they normally do? He gets hurt.
It's true. Although, I mean, just a season from hell in the end for Kansas City, but
for sure. Don't read what happened to Rasheed Rice. Not a good person.
No, all the red flags that people brought up in the draft
are coming back.
You were right if you lit up those flags. So then we got the afternoon game of the So San Francisco's interesting because it felt like
you want to move on to that game, or you got anything else you want to say?
I think so. I mean,
go ahead, transition away, my friend.
It's an interesting one because again, San Francisco, it felt like, is this team actually? They've been under the radar because of all the injuries on both sides of the ball, and then they just run into the Seahawks buzzsaw, and it kind of feels like the air got deflated out of this team. At least, I don't know about legitimately. They might be fine internally.
Right.
This is a well-coached team with a lot of veterans. But I think in the public consciousness, it feels like that's what happened.
Do you think they're going to win this game? Because I do.
I don't know if I'm going to bet on them straight up. I do know that I'm going to bet on them +6. Because
that spreads up to 6?
That's what ESPN has it right now.
Oh my God.
I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me. I guess the argument would be, Fangio, this defense, whatever you want to say about the Eagles offense, this defense has been good the entire season. We just saw Seattle wreck this offense, but
that was without Trent Williams, and all the signs say Trent Williams will play this week. That's a huge difference.
And also, I also don't know that as good as this Eagles defense is, because this is one of the elite defenses in the NFL, I don't know that any defense right now is on the level of Seattle.
Right.
So
I agree.
Not sure how much I would put into that either.
Well, Houston maybe, but I agree.
Houston maybe. But and then the Niners defense actually is kind of the underrated part of that game too, because it was like, they actually showed up.
That's what I was going to ask you. Was that Seattle's offense underperforming, or was that San Francisco coming up with a good scheme? I think it was, they actually played a good game defensively.
I think it's a little bit more of the former just because that Seattle offense has been a little jankier, a little more up and down second half of the season. Obviously, fourth quarter OT of that Rams game, they came alive in a big way.
That's a good point.
But I mean, Robert Salah, again,
Coach.
say whatever you want about his head coach being a head coach, and I don't even know how much I'd fault him there. Those Jets defenses were awesome, and
look what they've been since he left. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's not last year to this year. It was literally from the time they fired him last year through the rest of the season.
Wow.
So he is a really good coach, and we've seen when you have a smart defensive coach, and it's anytime the Eagles don't have a really good offensive coordinator in this Jalen Hurts era, really good coaches have shut this offense down in the playoffs. I mean, Todd Bowles absolutely wrecked it. So, yeah, this is a hard game to figure out because if you told me shootout, the Eagles can score against a banged up Niners defense, the Niners offense is back on track against anyone who's not Seattle, I buy it. And if you tell me Eagles defense, it's a really
rock
good
fight. Yeah,
it's a rock fight, I buy it. And that's what makes it so hard to predict. Again, I love the +6. As far as DFS goes, I'm having a hard time with this one.
So you don't think CMC is an automatic start?
I do think. See, if you're not going to put Puka in, you have then like where else are we going to spend the money? I don't like. CMC is going to get the ball a million times, and outside of really that game, I mean, I guess Tennessee he didn't light it up, but outside of that Seattle game, he's going to see the ball 25 times, and he's probably going to be productive. Maybe not in the run game.
No, I think he's going to catch at least like 8 to 10 passes. Do not forget the two best probably pass catching backs that Philadelphia faced this year. Jamar Gibbs, over 100 yards receiving. Bucky Irvin, over 100 yards receiving. I think that's also the plan for San Francisco is they are going to dink and dunk and yards after catch, catch, and then they're going to hit it over the top. Like I really do. I think you'll see a couple of, shots here and there, but overall, Shanahan is not afraid to get 4 yards at a time. And to me, that feels like that's kind of the game plan against this defense. So I really like CMC. The Goddard and A.J. Brown are the two that I'm having a hard time figuring out because A.J. Brown is like really underpriced if you look what he's done the second half of the year.
As of late.
Because, I mean, I want to say this is the first 6 games of the year, he averaged 10.2 points per game. The last 6 games of the year, he averaged almost 24 points per game. So he's on the way up. I know he's typically better versus man, but we've seen some games this year because me and you did not play him, right? Because we're like, zone heavy scheme, and he went bananas down this stretch.
Yeah.
But I think Goddard is the one that I'm like the most because he typically does, if I'm not mistaken, right? He feasts versus like these zone heavy teams. And San Francisco runs zone, I think, at a top 5 rate.
Well, let me see. I have the numbers for the zone stuff. 49ers, not quite that high, but they're right on around the 10th.
They're running it though like 70% of the time, right?
Well, yeah, because I mean, that is the thing to always remember about man zone splits is there's like 1 or 2 teams in a given year that are running it like 50-50, and otherwise everyone's pretty heavily zone in the modern NFL. And yeah, I mean, really, I think probably the lesson of A.J. Brown is if he plays a man heavy defense, if they play the Bears, throw A.J. Brown in every lineup. When he plays zone, it's not ignore A.J. Brown, especially at a reasonable price, which, to your point, we are seeing this week. Because, I mean, obviously, who am I ever going to like more than Puka in a given week? But $1,800, that is a lot. I mean, as far as points per route run, target share, Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, very little difference against zone, where man, it's a massive difference. So you could maybe talk me into saying I'm going to save a grand and just see what Devonta Smith
Have you
can
looked at Devontae's game?
do.
It's almost so like Devontae was better over the first half of the season. And since AJ Brown's numbers
Right.
have gone up, Devontae has really not had
It's
any big games.
the curse of this offense is that if they figure one thing out, something else falls apart. And again, that's why I don't really want a part of this offense. I mean, I think Goddard, I'm fine with. Like, throw Goddard in. I'm in. Everyone else was like, I'm not going to say don't. Again, I'm not ever saying don't start AJ Brown. At least, give or take the week he said don't start me in fantasy.
Right.
It was like, if he's saying it, then I'm not going to do it. But otherwise, yeah.
No
I think
interest in Barkley? Because he's kind of came on as well the last month and I mean, he had 200-yard games, which he had one like the previous, I think, 12 weeks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And San Francisco is a really bad run defense. If in case you didn't see Seattle just ram it down their throats. And I know Barkley does not look like the guy he did last year. He's still better than Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. And I'm just asking you because I'm having the same struggle, wondering.
I mean, I think
like
he is
layup?
better. I don't know that he's more explosive than Kenneth Walker at this point.
Well, I mean, that's fair.
Or at
but
least
I'm
this
talking
season.
about
Maybe next year he's a little more rested and he's not coming off 450 touches.
So that's a no for you, which is fine. I'm trying to figure out, do I need to put him in some lineups?
I don't know if I would. It's just because, I mean, what, is Lane Johnson back? That was the other O-lineman.
I think so, because I thought that I saw that, they were making such a big deal that both of those guys are going to play.
I mean, it's saying still questionable, but it might be questionable leaning towards playing. If Lane Johnson's a go, then maybe I throw him in a lineup. If he's not, I wouldn't. Like you said, the run game's shown a little more life lately, but
and by the way, same thing for even CMC. If they don't have
Trent Williams, then maybe
Trent Williams back.
Overwhelmed by a very talented defensive line.
I do not. Well, that's fair. I mean, that's the other thing is, the Eagles actually their strengths in the middle. So, but I mean they're not the pass rush attack that they've been in previous years. They're so stout against the run, and their corners are incredible. Like, I actually think they get more sacks now from coverage than anything. But again, San Francisco kind of matches up well, right? Because who are San Francisco's best pass catchers? They're running back and they're tight end.
Yeah. So
interesting game.
Yeah, I do think I'm playing the Goddard CMC combo, and then I'm probably just moving on from this one.
Dude, it makes a lot of sense. It really does. The game that I am most intrigued by is this next one we're talking about, because I'm wondering if everybody's sleeping on the Chargers. First game for New England, right? In the playoffs. It's at home. And it's just it's a strength on strength matchup if I've ever seen it. New England
and weakness on weakness in some ways.
That's fair too. That is 100% fair, because what is New England's superpower on offense? Drake May chucking it down the field. He's only the 10th guy in NFL history to lead the league both in completion percentage and air yards per attempt. And I mean, he's so good. Like, it's unbelievable. Just wait till he gets some real receivers. I hate the NFL. The Patriots are already good again.
I do think about this receiving core. There's not obviously the high, like Stephon Diggs is still good, obviously, but there's not a high end top 10, top 15 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think it's just a bunch of competent dudes, though, which
that's fair.
When you have an elite quarterback, which there should be. I mean, I think he's the MVP, even if you think he should be second. Should be no doubt he is an elite QB. Agree to disagree. But like, everyone on this team that he throws to is at least okay. Like Hunter Henry, pretty good tight end. All those other guys, Kyle Williams, Mario Douglas, Those are decent receivers. They're not guys you get excited about, but if you have a good OC and a really good quarterback, and a good, honestly, this O-line's better. That's the one thing that always bugs me about these MVP arguments is everyone suddenly downplays
I
everyone else
know,
on their
right? They
team.
basically think the only way to get their point across is to shit on the other guy.
Like the reality is, even as a Drake May supporter here, Patriots pass blocking is pretty good this year, better than the Rams pass blocking. Now, the run game is an entirely different story, although the Patriots have started to come alive when the run game, the second half, first half, it was atrocious. But it's like, yeah, he's not surrounded by a bunch of bums. It's like an average to above, maybe even slightly above average supporting cast, I would say. And then he's awesome. But I'm sorry, I derailed our conversation.
Oh, no, you're good. Because May, by the way, if you look at EPA per play,
yeah,
New England top 2, and actually they're second, and receptions, receiving, like everything. They're right there. Well, guess what the Chargers are on explosive plays, balls that travel 15 plus yards. Chargers are the second stingiest defense in the league, giving up plays down the field of 15 or more yards. And if they are able to limit May's ability to throw it downfield, I think they're going to have a game on our hands, because people are sleeping on this Chargers defense. This Chargers defense is legit. And I actually want New England to win because I think it'd be more fun. I would love to see another, New England Buffalo game. And I mean, let's be honest. This is like what you said at the beginning. If the Chargers had 2 healthy tackles, I might be picking them to win the Super Bowl. But without them, they might could win this game. They're not going to win more than that, right? Like, they're not going to. The minute they play a team like Houston that has a pass rush, we saw that. Like, it's just poor Justin Herbert's going to get murdered.
Jags too. I think that was part of the reason they won that game.
Exactly. So, but I am a little concerned, because I think that if New England can't hit those big plays, and it's not like you can really run on the Chargers either, the longer this game stays ugly, that's what Harbaugh and these guys do. And the one good thing for me with New England is they were atrocious versus the run weeks 11 through 16, which I did not understand. They were 31st in yards before contact defending the run. They were like one of the best run defense in the league to start the year, right? Like, they went almost 10 weeks without having a guy rush for 50 yards or more. And then I found out that the way these things normally do, one of their big uglies was missing. And that big ugly was, what is Williams' last name? Milton Williams, who was one of their big signings this off season. He literally missed weeks 11 through 16. He returned last week, and I know the Dolphins didn't have A-Chain, but still, they rushed it like 25 times for 60 yards. And that was the New England run defense we saw early this season. So I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to run on it. And that means, like, God, I just hope Herbert doesn't get killed. Because, if he's got to drop back 40, 50 times, it's going to be bad. So, but my point is, in this game, this is actually the game that I'm kind of staying away from altogether. If you want to play Hunter Henry in cash, I'm good with that. If you want to play Gadsden on the other side in cash, I'm good with that. If you look when they played the Texans, right, and he was under siege the whole time, that was the best game Gadsden's had in 6 weeks. Outside of that, I think it'd be real ballsy in cash to play. Again, obviously the defenses too. You can obviously play the defenses, but I'm going to kind of stay away from this game overall for cash, but I am fascinated to see how it plays out, because I think there's a good chance Drake May is like that dude. You know what I mean? Like, not only has he took this huge leap this year, similar to what we saw with Jaden Daniels last year, lights are going to get brighter, and he's going to be like, oh yeah, I like that spotlight. Put it on me. And, he may be the guy that figures out how to hit all these explosive plays on the Chargers. He definitely has the talent to. So I'm fascinated to see it. But what about you? Do you like any guys a lot in this game for cash?
I think you hit it on the head where the main thing is look for those tight ends. And especially I really like Hunter Henry in this matchup because of what you said about the Chargers defense. This is an elite defense at shutting down big plays. That is what they specialize in. So it's like, all right, if they're going to shut down, and to be fair, they have been yardage wise very good against tight ends. If you look like DVOA, so we're counting for like how often a tight end gets passes, they give up some touchdowns and stuff. So, I mean, to me, it's if we're taking away the big play, the reality is this is the top 5 team in running zone defense. The 2 most efficient quarterbacks, and again, like we said earlier, most teams run zone, so this shouldn't be a surprise. 2 most efficient quarterbacks against zone this year, EPR per play, it's Stafford and May running neck and neck right next to each other. And actually, Carolina runs zone more than anyone. So
wow,
bad, again, bad sign there. But like you said too, the question is May truly is he a top 5 quarterback the next 10 years? I was really in pre-draft.
Oh, we know.
I got more in last year.
I'll give you credit. In a draft with Caleb, Daniels. I mean, some people like Knicks. Nobody liked Penix, but the Falcons still took him 8th overall. So thanks, Atlanta.
I mean, I liked him.
I know what you mean. But I'm saying like nobody was like, oh, this guy's And you were dead set on May, who I did like a lot, but I just thought Caleb was, generational. Ironically, last year, if you had polled me, I would have been like, damn, I'm 3rd in picking it. And I still may be, because I think that we'll see Daniels with a better offensive line and surrounding players is still going to be really good. But
I would not be out on Daniels.
All 3 of those guys look really good now. But you were all over it with May. And the leap he made this year, we were both all over him in fantasy drafts. He was the quarterback I drafted. Every home league I had him at quarterback. And I thought it was the legs, right? And that's the one thing, like in MME, I am going to run some lineups with Drake May because it would not shock me if not only does he, he has a Josh Allen game basically, and he's a few $100 cheaper where he ends up throwing for, 230, 2 touchdowns, and he has another, 60 rushing yards and, 2 scores.
Yeah, I think your point about could they unleash him the way the Bills routinely do with Josh Allen come playoff time, I think that's a real possibility. Probably the only, again, I just don't buy that they're going to shut him down. I think you can limit those big pass plays.
Right.
I believe in him enough that he's going to figure it out. Probably the only way this doesn't at least end up a reasonable Drake May game, in which case I probably want at least one of his receivers somewhere, is if they just have a lot of success running the ball.
Right.
I think that's a possibility because this Chargers defense is not bad against the run. They're better versus the pass.
Yeah.
And then as far as the Chargers go, I mean, Ian Hartitz did a thing where he took away passing grade and averaged the PFF grade of the rest of the offense for every team. And supporting cast, Stafford had the number 1 supporting cast in the NFL.
Duh.
Drake May, higher than people would give the Patriots credit for, 8th best supporting cast.
Wow. The
Chargers were 30th. Like, this is the worst run blocking grade team in the NFL. So it's not just the pass blocking. Pass blocking, they're tied with the Browns for last. So this is the worst offensive line in the NFL that he's playing behind. And the upside, Patriots, mediocre pass rush.
Right.
So it really is probably the ideal matchup for them. But man, it's the playoffs. I don't want to be betting on the guy who's playing behind the worst offensive line in the NFL.
And it's got a cast on his hand or whatever. That's not good either.
Now, and again, like tight end is the one spot where I have interest in a Charger in this game. Because
do you think Gadsden could have a big game? Because again, the Texans game.
I do think that is a possibility. The Patriots are not good against tight ends this
year. That's the other thing too. Good point.
I think this defense has been a little more so than May with all the schedule stuff. I think this defense is not great. I think they're average at best, and they've played a trash schedule. May, I think, has played a pretty trash schedule, but he's awesome, and it doesn't matter. So
I have seen, though, by DVOA defense, he's actually played a pretty tough schedule. Like,
yeah,
against the pass is what I'm saying.
Back and forth, yeah.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I'm all in on May. I'm not all in on the Patriots defense, but that in this game, that's just not enough for me to get
They're
into
expensive
playing
too.
anyone but
Shit, it's
Gadsden.
only like 200 more for the Texans. Sign me up for that.
Which, yeah, that doesn't quite make sense to me there. Yeah, so let's go Texans Steelers. The number one question with this game is probably, is there anyone that you're thinking about throwing into your lineup in this game?
Oh man, so see, we're gonna go opposite ends here, because yeah, heck yeah, there
Okay.
is.
I mean,
I
there is for me too, but there's not a lot for me though.
I don't see why this is the game that everybody thinks is going to be so low scoring.
Really, you don't?
I think the Texans are going to score points, like points.
Okay.
And I actually think the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball. You know, the biggest thing is just obviously I'm going to go ahead and spend up and get Nico Collins and just go ahead and tell you that. Pittsburgh versus wide receivers, real bad, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking real bad. They rank bottom 5 against wide receivers in targets allowed, receptions allowed, receiving yards, and fantasy points per game. They had how many guys was that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had 7 occurrences this year of a number 1 receiver going over 100 yards. Zay Flowers did it twice. Lab McConkey, Michael Pittman, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Remember when that guy was good? That was with
he's still good.
He's still good, but I'm saying that was with Carson Wentz too.
Yeah, fantasy wise, when he
and then JSN. Those 6 receivers in those 7 games combined for 59 receptions for 874 yards. And I also think Dalton Schultz is somebody that should be kind of a lock in this as well, because they struggle with tight ends too. They allow the 4th most receptions, 6th most yards, 5th most touchdowns per game to opposing tight ends. And I didn't realize, Schultz finished with such a strong season, scored double-digit points 7 of his last 10 games. More importantly, averaging 6.4 targets per. And, Nico, I know he had 2 bad games to end the season, and then they rested him the week before. But in those other, I think it was either 2 or 3 games he played with Stroud, he had really good games. And I expect him to be able to get with it. I know the concern is, well, Pittsburgh can still get after the passer sometimes, and Houston has a so-so offensive line.
That'll be my concern. Yeah.
I don't think so. I think Houston's offensive line has been better as of late. I really do. I think Houston is going to roll in this game. And because of that, I also really like Kenneth Gainwell on the other side, because, if Jaylen Warren's out, he's a lock. Okay. Because he's still not practicing as of yesterday. I don't know. Did they announce if he practiced today or not? Do you know?
I don't. Let me Google.
So I can go ahead and tell you, though, again, why I like him for cash is he's a PPR cheat code at this point. Since week 11, caught 44 of his 52 targets. He scored 18.2 points or more in 5 of his last 8.
Warren practiced today.
Okay, so it looks like Warren's going to play, but I don't care. Like, this is what he's became. Gainwell has become like their Wes Welker. You know what I mean? Like, they're just flat out running him out there to be a receiver. And I actually think the DK Metcalf coming back is a good thing for Warren, because now he's not getting so much attention. Because I'm pretty sure Houston is going to be bracketing Metcalf most of this game. I think it's way more likely that the Packers-Bears with the weather or the Chargers-Patriots ends up being the rock fights, and that this one is kind of crazy. Not to mention, Pittsburgh games are just like guaranteed to be nuts now. It feels
as we saw last week, which, if you want to be a believer in Houston's going to score a bunch of points against Pittsburgh, you can just watch the 4th quarter of that Ravens-Steelers game where they just forgot Zay Flowers existed a couple times.
And that's why I'm so high on Collins. Is like
Mm-hmm.
I just like looking at what Flowers did in that game, and then realizing he had an even bigger game in the first matchup versus him. Like, if I'm the Texans, I'm feeding the beast. You have one of the best wide receivers in football. He's had kind of a down year. I would reestablish myself, especially when you're getting ready to try to. I think they have a legit chance to win the Super Bowl. I really do. I think if they can get anything out of their run game over, these next 3-4 weeks, they got a great chance of getting to the Super Bowl because the defense is elite. CJ Stroud is reminding everybody it's not my fault. You just punted on the season by getting rid of all my entire offensive line last year and didn't have any other receivers either. And like those kids are good. Higgins is good. Noel's good. Hutchinson is actually pretty good. Then you have a good tight end, Dalton Schultz.
I mean, that's one of the big things for me about the Texans is I do think you're not wrong. I mean, this is a top 2 defense. They have a quarterback that whatever people want to say about he hasn't lived up to the rookie hype or anything. He's a quarterback I believe in, especially in big games. I mean, let's not forget this is a team that has won a playoff game each of the last 2 years, and really were in that game against Kansas City.
I was going to say they gave him a game.
Yeah, that was down, maybe not to the wire, but you went into that fourth quarter, you didn't know who was going to win that game. So, yeah, I do like this team. I think I'm in on Nico. I'm kind of out on everything else is probably where I'm at with this. Again, the Steelers, they are getting DK back. That does open the offense. And actually, maybe I'm still in on Jalen Warren just because he's a guy
so you like Warren more in game one? He is cheaper, but again, it's just like an automatic 6 points for Gainwell for now going on 8 weeks. I mean, that's like the worst case scenario. He's caught like basically 6 passes every game, it seems like. And the targets, dude, it's like he's like Wan'Dale Robinson.
I mean,
last year before he started really balling out.
Because I don't think they're going to have success running the ball, in which case take the guy who's going to get the receptions. But I don't buy the Steelers doing well offensively in this game. Like, again, we talked about earlier, Panthers, Rams, 2 teams that disguise their coverage the most. Texans are extremely low. They basically don't blitz. They don't.
Like, we're just going to beat you.
To me, that's the perfect team against Aaron Rodgers.
That's true.
Because listen, supercomputer, he's seen every play, seen every defense. You can try and disguise it, but he's probably going to know what you're doing. What do you want against him? You want a physical pass rush that's going to make him get rid of the ball faster than he should. And I mean, ideally for us, that's a dump off to Gainwell. But also historically, he'll just throw it deep to a receiver and just see what happens.
Right.
I don't buy that their offense does much in this game. And I do think that pass rush is going to bother Stroud because this is still, when it's full force, and as far as I know, that Steelers front is pretty healthy right now. I think they're going to have trouble, but with the big caveat, bottom 5 team in passing yards allowed to number 1 receivers, bottom 5 team against deep passes. That means Nico Collins is a good play because
he's 7K.
Look, I mean, he can catch 4 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown.
He does have more than any receiver in the league.
Yeah, to be honest. He's probably, that's a great point. He's probably the guy that does that. So they might win this game 17-7, but at least one of those touchdowns is his. He still gets 100 yards. We get the bonus. He catches 4 passes. We score 25 points. We take it to the bank. But yeah, I don't think this game has a lot of points, but I'm in on Nico, and maybe I'm in on Gainwell just because of those easy receptions that he'll get.
I like the over, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on there, Joe? Do we have a lot of money on the over or something? What's going on here? Because there's a lot of yelling going on for a game that is. Are y'all watching basketball? What's going on there?
Well, I'm in the other room, so I have not seen this game since halftime when it was already fucking.
I mean, it's 42-15, so I can't believe that they're yelling about.
I mean, Indiana might hit the over on their own, so.
Right?
Actually, well, this game's hit the over. You'd have to have, bet over 65 or something to be.
I just want to know what they were so fired up. They sound like they're having a lot. By the way, it was 42-7. before that 2-play 76 touchdown by Oregon a few minutes ago.
Do you know how many yards?
38-3 versus Bama, right? Isn't that what the final was?
Do you know how many yards Indiana? Yeah, 38-3. Guess how many yards Indiana has right now?
How many?
296. They're under 300 yards. They have 42 points, right? I mean, that started the first play of the game as a pick six, so that goes a long way. But
they're only averaging 3.7 rushing yards per play. Now, the pass, on the other hand, when you're throwing a touchdown on slightly more than a quarter of your pass attempts, that helps.
I don't think this game really drove it home. I don't think there's a more unfair play in college football than Mendoza throwing to Elijah Surratt.
So think about, though, now he's going to get Brock Bowers.
I'm
starting to get fired up for my guy, because I was worried. I don't think he's that great, but you just made the point. That's all I needed to hear. You're right. Bowers is also a freak who catches everything.
Right. As far as Bowers goes, he definitely doesn't need great quarterback play, because he's gotten bottom 5 quarterback play for 2 years and been awesome.
He's been pretty good.
Yeah, draft Mendoza and then put every single. I know the defense is not great. Put every single resource you have into building that offensive line.
Where did Surratt play before Indiana?
I don't know. Let me look that up. The other thing, probably the Raiders fans can take solace in, is I'm guessing whoever the next head coach is, he won't make his son the offensive line coach. So I feel like that's probably a win. Oh yeah, of course. It was James Madison.
Oh, wow. So he's a small school guy.
So
good for him.
So he obviously came with coach.
He's made some money, right? Don't you think? He's got to go to the pros now.
Oh, yeah. I think Elijah Surratt's probably – I haven't fully delved into the draft. I mean, as a Giants fan, I've mostly just been looking at guys who might go in the top 10 or 15 picks.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's like a second round guy, because he's a big physical dude. So
real quick before we get out of here, Harbaugh. Is he going to be the Giants' next coach?
Please. I am not a little disappointed.
Guy. It sounds like he's already turned us down, but that's okay.
I would be too if I were you. Listen, we'll see what happens, because based on the rumor mill, McDermott could be gone if the Bills lose. So I am rooting for the Bills to win this game. There's even the chance LaFleur could be gone, depending on how the Green Bay game goes. That actually, I'm fine. If Harbaugh goes to Green Bay, I will happily take LaFleur as my head coach.
We actually have connection with LaFleur. He coached for the Falcons.
So you should for sure be rooting for them to lose, so that you can maybe get LaFleur. Because if you put LaFleur with those pieces, I mean, maybe Penix isn't the guy. You still got to figure that out. But oh man,
what about him? And then he brings McDaniels as his OC.
I mean, there's at max 10 teams in the league that should not be trying to get McDaniels as their OC. I was getting in an argument before the show on Facebook with people where someone had said McDaniels has made, you look at all these not receivers, just players who have played in Miami. It's like, when did that guy have his best season? And it's like every single guy, it's when he was with McDaniel in Miami. And someone was
think about what he could do with Kyle Pitts. Because of what he's done
with anyone.
Smith. Yeah.
I mean, I saw a thing. It was like his
explosion. Waller.
Peak Tyreek in 22 and 23 with Miami. His explosive play rate, so catches of over 15 plus, or maybe it was routes over 15 plus yards, but whatever it was, his explosive play rate was 9.6%. It was never above 6% when he was in Kansas City. He was generating way more explosive plays with Tua throwing to him.
With Tua over.
And then the second year, 2023, I think it was 22. He was also, there were 4 games Tua didn't play. And 2 of those are Teddy Bridgewater, which is maybe pretty comparable to Tua in a lot of ways.
Right.
But the other 2 were Skylar Thompson. So he had 2 games with Skylar Thompson. The next year, they ran for 27 touchdowns. That team was run-oriented.
That was the Mostert team. What do you have, 21 touchdowns that year or whatever?
Mostert had, I think, 18 rushing. I think it was 21 total. So it's and the other thing, too, is because as a Giants fan, I'm also always paying attention to, the coaching rumors about who should get interviews, people have thought pretty highly of that staff. Like Anthony Weaver, I know that Dolphins defense hasn't been great. Anthony Weaver is a relatively highly thought of defensive coach. So the fact is, it's like this is a guy that I think people want to work with. He seems, at least outwardly, like a super fun guy to be around.
They rallied behind him. That's why I was surprised they let him go.
That was
I thought
huge
the Dolphins played very hard down the stretch, despite that season being over with 2 months left.
That to me is the difference between me being, I would love him as my OC. I want to see him like reestablish himself as an OC before I really have interest as a head coach. He might still benefit from that because I think a lot of people benefit from, like, if you're Harbaugh, it doesn't matter. You've been a good coach for 18 years. Andy Reid was the same. You don't need the break. He might benefit from going and working with someone else for a couple years, resetting, coming up with some new ideas, like just as overall.
Why would the Packers get rid of LaFleur? Seriously, what sense would that make?
It makes less sense. Harbaugh, you could sell me on it.
No, I think Harbaugh, that he's been there forever. It's just like with Tomlin. Like eventually, you just
can run your course. Even Andy Reid again in Philly. Although if the rumor is that the issue was he wouldn't fire Todd Monken, which maybe was a personality thing between Monken and Lamar, and you just had to side with Lamar because you have to side with an elite quarterback. Todd Monken's a good offensive coordinator, so I'm still all in on Harbaugh, but I can get the argument there. I don't get the argument with LaFleur at all.
Especially with a season from hell with injuries. I mean, think about it. Kraft. And Watson's missed a bunch of games. Freaking Micah
statistically, Jordan Love.
He made Malik Willis look great too.
By some metrics, Jordan Love is like the top 3 quarterback this year. Like you look at EPA, he had an incredible season.
No, Love has been really good.
And that's with the offensive line being probably the worst offensive line since LaFleur has been there. The fact that Watson and Tucker Kraft had like a 1-game overlap as your like most talented receiver and your like Gronk-esque tight end didn't get to play at the same time. And again, defensively, they were at least good until
they were. I thought their defense was really good till all the injuries happened.
Your defensive coordinator is rumored to get multiple head coaching interviews next week. It makes zero sense, which again, as a Giants fan, I'm fine.
Yeah, bring it. Because like I said, we actually have a connection to him to where Harbaugh we don't. Yeah, I've heard Harbaugh to the Giants is almost a done deal.
I think my take on it, I never understood the Miami rumors that were raging for like 24 hours until they hired John Eric Sullivan from the Packers to be their new GM, which, hey, you want to hire someone from the Packers to be your GM? I think that's a solid choice automatically. But there was Chad Alexander in the Chargers assistant GM. He worked in Baltimore for like 20 years. So I think the rumor was if they hired him, Harbaugh would go there. That still didn't make sense to me. I don't know why you would choose. Like, I'm a Giants fan, but I think I'm a relatively level-headed one. Miami over the Giants.
I think you're the best job opening that there is right now.
Right now. I think that's the key. If especially a Green Bay or Buffalo fired their head coaches, which again, Buffalo I could kind of get. Green Bay makes no sense to me. If either of those happens, that becomes the best job. And then if you're Harbaugh,
I think I would rather. The only thing about Buffalo, I would take because of Allen. Like you get a chance to get Josh Allen, you got to take it. But the one advantage to the Giants to the Packers is going there, you got to win immediately, right? And at a high level, that division's really good.
That division is loaded.
And I just think with the Giants, you're going to get a little grace. The Commanders are going the wrong direction. The Cowboys are the Cowboys.
I think the other thing, too, is depending on how much control he wants, I think that's a different discussion in actually both places. Because I don't see Buffalo moving on from Brandon Beane. I'd be pretty surprised if they were like,
right,
we're going to move on from our GM who's helped us to 7 straight playoffs after we didn't make the playoffs for 20 years. And then Green Bay, I think there's zero chance that it would play out that way. That's just not how that organization runs at all.
Yeah, they're like Pittsburgh.
And New York, I mean, Joe Shane, the fans would be happy if he got fired. At least, like, I know I saw one poll that was like on Twitter, it was like 95% of us voted he should be fired. So
So are
If
they
Harbaugh
blaming
was
him
like-
for all these injuries? Because, I mean, last time I checked, Cam Scottaboo, home run. Jackson
That's
Dart,
true.
home run. Malik
Okay.
Neighbors,
I'll give
home
you all
run.
that. And he actually finally, it took 4 years, he fixed the offensive line. This is a pretty good offensive line.
Yep.
I think the complete lack of defensive depth, especially when you let guys like Xavier McKinney, who was an All-Pro last year,
I didn't understand that.
Julian Love, who's signed with Seattle and then signed an extension with Seattle, the best defense in the NFL. He starts for them. So the defense, I think, which was supposed to be the strength of the team, everyone was high on it. You win 7 games over 2 years, and it's year 3 and 4 that you've been there.
Yeah.
That's a tough sell.
Yep.
But my point is, if Harbaugh says, get out of here, he's
gone. Let the door hit you on the way.
Right. Where I don't think that's the situation in Buffalo or Green Bay. So if he wants a lot of control, he wants his hand-picked GM. If the Giants wouldn't give that to him, I think they'll have like a riot on their hands. Like every fan is just going to turn on this team fully if that were to happen. Also, I know a lot of people like Stefanski. I don't get it. If you go EPA per play over the course of his tenure there, 30th in the NFL. If you go success rate, 30th in the NFL. You know who's 29th over that time span? The New York Giants. So he's run worse offenses. And yeah, I get it. You can be like, this year it was Shadur. It was not Chase Daniel. It was Dylan Gabriel. I'm mixing up my too small to be NFL quarterbacks, guys. It was seemingly washed Joe Flacco, who then went to Cincinnati and looked awesome, albeit throwing to really good receivers.
Yeah.
So I'll give you all that. This is also his tenure coincides with the Jason Garrett offenses for the Giants.
Why is he getting interviewed for Giants?
I don't get it at all. I like Mike McCarthy is a guy I've never been a fan of, but I'm like, hey, he wins games.
He won a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Jason Garrett went 8-8 a bunch of years and then ran the most incompetent offenses I've ever seen in just the New York Giants fan. I don't get it at all. Yeah, it makes like, and it's not like there's not a Rooney rule for like gingers as far as I know. So yeah, I don't get that one at all. But even if you take out the last 2 years, Stefanski's offense 20th in EPA per play. He's never had an elite offense. I know everyone wants to just blame management for moving on from Baker Mayfield. You're the head coach. You call the plays.
Right.
If you had pounded the table to keep Baker Mayfield, I think you would have kept Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to blame him too much for Deshaun because I think that was just karma.
Well, that was
the ultimate revenge.
They've said the owners were the ones that really wanted that.
I mean his being an awful quarterback.
Oh, gotcha.
The move, I don't blame people besides Jimmy Haslam for making that move. But yeah, I've never, and he was an offensive coordinator for 1 year for like an above average Minnesota offense with Kirk Cousins. I don't get why his second coach of the year was because Jim Schwartz became the defensive coordinator and made it a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
If he brings Jim Schwartz with him, I'll live with it. That's okay. If he doesn't bring an elite defensive coordinator, I would want nothing to do with Stefanski.
One other guy I got to ask you about real quick.
Give me McDaniel before you give me Stefanski.
Clint Kubiak. Any desire? Like you're seeing his name a lot of places.
If I have an opening for my offensive coordinator job,
that's what I thought.
I would definitely interview not Clint Kubiak. Are you talking about Clint Kubiak? Or are we talking about what's his name? The Commanders OC. We're talking about him, right? Kingsbury, because that's the hard part.
No,
it's Kubiak and Kingsbury are the two different guys. Oh, Clint Kubiak from Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd interview him for sure. I don't know if I'm sold. He's a 2-year OC. Obviously, things started awesome last year in New Orleans and then went south pretty fast. So I think that was mostly injuries and not a super talented offense outside of like Chris Olave. And then this year, though, the fact that they tailed off again, I would kind of like to see a little more seasoning for him.
Right.
From everything I've read, also not the most dynamic personality, which was true for his father as well, who ultimately won a Super Bowl and was a successful head coach at multiple stops. And so I'm interested. I would definitely want to bring him in for an interview. And if you're hiring a guy who doesn't have previous head coaching experience, so like a McDaniel, he's probably the top guy. Joe Brady's the other OC that I think I'd be interested in. But I mean, as a Giants fan, I think that's a no-go because you're not going to hire another Bills OC.
See, I want Flores in Atlanta, and everybody thinks I'm nuts.
Oh, no, I'm with you. That's the guy. Again, frustrating as a Giants fan. No way he's going to come to the team that he's suing right now because he thinks they used him last time.
I think he'd be a great fit in Atlanta. And yeah, he needs to make sure he brings a good offensive coordinator, but there's a bunch of them out there right now.
Right. The whole thing with him is I think he guarantees you a really good defense. By the time he left Miami, again, he couldn't figure out Tua at all. That's a black mark on his record. That defense was good. And also, he has as many winning seasons as Stefanski. Just going to throw that out there. He was a pretty good coach. The one losing season he had, the owner was yelling at him to tank.
Yep.
This is a guy who got pretty good results with a pretty barren roster. And then he went over and Minnesota. I don't think anyone thinks that's been one of the most talented defensive rosters in the NFL.
No.
It's been a really good defense. And the other thing, too, is probably the biggest criticism you would have, obviously, just A, make sure you hire a good offensive coordinator.
Yep.
But B, he's a Belichick guy. All the Belichick guys, except for Vrabel, who was a player under Belichick, not a coach, they're hard asses. They don't win people over. Clearly didn't win over Tua. Who's he worked under since then? He's worked under Mike Tomlin,
and Kevin
who's probably the ultimate, finds a way to relate to players coach. And Kevin O'Connell, who another guy, everyone says, look at the quarterback, Daniel Jones. It's like he goes there. Sam Darnold goes there. Obviously, they then went on to other places with talented offensive minds, but he rebuilds people's confidence.
Yep. He's a people person.
Right. Those are the two guys he worked under. Those are the exact guys I would want someone like Brian Flores to work under, to learn how to modulate how he deals with certain players. And also that gives him more people he can reach out to be his offensive coordinator. I'm with you. If I'm hiring an ex-head coach,
that's
and
who
it's
it
not
is.
Harbaugh and, McDermott, and especially LaFleur don't get fired.
Yeah.
He's clear number two. I don't want Stefanski. I don't want Mike McCarthy. I like the Brian Flores hire. I would love that for you guys.
Me too. Well, Joe, this was fun. I got you fired up there, man. I love seeing you that fired up. He loves talking coaches.
You did. I coaches all the way. Again, as a Giants fan, I'm always paying attention to who I might need to hire in 2 years.
Remind everyone, fill out your lineups because I know tomorrow's 4 p.m. and make sure you're getting into the right contest. You can play a Saturday slate. You can play a Sunday slate.
For sure.
Most of the biggest contests, which I think, again, it's a small slate anyway, actually do the Saturday through Monday here. This isn't one of those situations where, normally I'm telling you, stick in the slate. 3 games, 2 games, it's hard to differentiate that way. Very easy in this one. Even if it's as simple as you just pick the couple of games you think are going to have the most, points scored in it, and you kind of load up there. So, but we'll be with you again to the end. We'll be back divisionals, conference, Super Bowl. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was just saying, hopefully, we all win money this week, and in a week, you and I are toasting our new head coaches, John Harbaugh and Brian Flores. So that's the dream right there.
That would make my day. But for Keith and Joe, we'll see you guys next week.